I'm Amanda Katili Niode from Indonesia, and you are now all joining the Global Discovery, part of the Digital Bootcamp program with the Food and Agriculture Organization and the Future Food Institute. I was in the first Digital Bootcamp a few months ago, and it's very interesting because, like some of you know, of course, they have global discoveries, local discoveries, and we get to know the people, producers, farmers, and consumers. And this time I'm going to talk about Indonesia in general. And later on, my friend Crissy will talk about the Parara ethical store. I'll let her explain about everything about Parara. And then there's going to be also some food display. But let me share my screen so that I could show some of the, all right. Can you see the slide? So this is just an example of Indonesian food. And this is from Ternate Island. And you know, the Indonesia consists of thousands of islands, but Alfred Wallace explained about the beauty of sunrise in the tropics. He published a book in the 1800s about the Malay archipelago. And amazingly, even a few, several hundred, more than 150 years ago, he already talked about the Indonesian food, about sago, about durian, the smelly king of fruits, and how the people there really benefit from the local food. And I really like this quote, and in whatever talk about Indonesian food, I always put this, because not only enjoying the view, but he's also enjoying the food. So he says, and the bright sunshine lights up the glorious vegetation of the tropics and realizes all that the magic art of the painter or the glowing words of the poet have pictured as their ideals of a terrestrial paradise. So if you visit Indonesia, you'll get everything: the view, the food, the culture, and the people. We have, actually it's 17,000 islands. We have more than 17,000 islands. There are several big islands, 98 cities, 74,000 villages, and 255 million people. It's interesting to see the map, because we can see that there are some landlocked areas, and we can see coastal areas. We can see the greens are still forested areas. And you can imagine the agricultural activities and also the food activities involved in such a diverse areas. There is an organization called Sobat Budaya, and they're doing several hackathons. You know that the bootcamp participants will have hackathon, but this is a different kind of hackathon where on several weekends there are volunteers, young people, who really collect information about Indonesian food and drink, including the recipe. So you can see on the right-hand side, Papua, it has like 428 either traditional food and drink, and they come with the recipes as well. And if you can see in Java, Java is here, Central Java has 5,000, more than 5,000 traditional food and drink. This does not necessarily mean that the others have less than this. I think they even have more than this, but the data in Central Java is much more established, or there are more communities who are collecting information. And this one, West Sumatra, says it has 2,215 traditional food and drink. one of the famous traditional food there, rendang, was listed as the most delicious food by CNN. So the diversity is really amazing. And most of the traditional food there are gluten-free, of course, before, you know, all this fast food coming to our area. Lots of vegetables, not much meat consumption. And also usually it's local. You get fish from the surrounding water bodies. Sometimes even if you don't have work, you can still survive because you can get vegetables from the surrounding area, or you can graze from the forest, and you can easily get carbohydrates and protein. But through the Green Revolution, more and more people are eating rice. And rice, you know, like many countries as well, as an indicator that could create social instability if we don't have enough rice for the population, because most eat rice like 3 times a day. Whereas in the eastern part of Indonesia, as later on Crissy could inform you, there are a variety of carbohydrates, so not necessarily rice. There are sago, sorghum, and other activities as well. So these are just the current numbers of the traditional food and drink in Indonesia, and they're still counting. When we have another hackathon, then there will be also information on the food and as well as the recipe. And of course, most traditional food are related to ceremonies, either religious ceremonies or you know, coming of age, life cycle ceremonies. And this is, if you can see the food, you know, usually this is a prayer for someone who just passed away. They have food, and people who sit on the right hand side just have to take the food in front of them. They're not allowed to take the food across from them. I don't know why, but there are, how do you say, the rules like that. And they almost always use lots of herbs and spices in Indonesia, of course. Spices not only for the seasonings, but also for ceremonies. So this is the general idea. But being a person who works on the environment and climate change field, as well as you know, increasing the awareness of local food, we always say that if you consume local food, of course, you're reducing emission. And it's also healthier because you don't have to use refrigerators. You don't have to transport all your food ingredients. And they don't use, some of the areas, they don't use MSGs. They use leaves as, you know, a substitute, well, as a flavor enhancer. And they don't use refined sugar. As you can see on the bottom left, it's a sweet cake, and they're using palm sugar. So most of the sweeteners traditionally in Indonesia use palm sugar. And of course, there are lots and lots of hot food. Red eye chili, chili pepper, and everything that's hot. In my area, my hometown, if you're eating hot food, it means you're honest. I don't know what's the relationship between hot food and honesty, but that's what they say. So there are some practices, some stories behind all Indonesian food. So I believe that's just the general idea. And I would like to invite Crissy to explain about Parara, the programs, and also maybe later on have some food display.
Thank you very much, Bu Amanda. And thank you for inviting us as well to this webinar. I'm Crissy from Parara. I'm based here in West Java, not so far from Jakarta, the capital city, and we'll be telling you a bit about our initiative to support also local foods, which have the benefits that have been explained by Ibu Amanda as well. My colleague, we have a restaurant, and my colleague is at the restaurant, and we'll be showing you some of the delicacies that we have there at the end of my presentation. So if you will allow me, I will share screen to share a little bit about who we are and what we do. Okay, all right. So I've been asked to talk about our social enterprise. Parara itself stands for Panen Raya Nusantara, which means the great harvest of the archipelago, meaning the Indonesian archipelago. As Ibu Amanda had shared, the Indonesian archipelago is over 17,000 islands. So there's a lot of diversity in food, in culture, and in many aspects. The name of our initiative is called Parara, the Great Harvest of the Archipelago, because we want to draw attention to the farmers, the artisans, the forest gatherers who harvest and share the food we eat, the baskets, the homeware, the fashion items that we sometimes wear, and to honor them by promoting in an honorable way what they make, what they harvest, what they do. So this is our store. It's we call it a baby because it's actually only a year old. We feel it's only a newborn because it was born 3 months before the pandemic. So we started running before we could walk in terms of trying to keep up with what's happening with the pandemic. So we're learning, but we'd like to share what we're doing while we're learning. It's an initiative of over 30 different civil society organizations across the archipelago. And we thank you to this Digital Bootcamp, Global Discoveries, and FAO and Future Food Institute, and of course, Ibu Amanda, and all of the hats she wears for inviting us on this webinar. So who are we and what do we do? So we're 30 different NGOs from Sumatra to Papua, supporting farmers, forest producers, and fishers. And you hear NGOs, they do advocacy work, right? You try to change laws, you speak in loud voices, you lobby. But we wanted to promote something that a lifestyle that we wanted to promote in a new world. And we said, why don't we try to promote local food, local products? As Ibu Amanda said, if you eat local, then you reduce emissions, you reduce your carbon footprint, you promote culture, you promote local traditions. And how better to do that in a larger movement with the 30 NGOs. So we're working with farmers producing organic rice, forest gatherers producing forest honey, and also fishers, many of them being women, or women that are processing some of the food from fishery stocks. The first event that we tried to prepare in promoting local, sustainable, healthy, and fair food was to have a festival. We said to provide a message to the community, to the national community about what we have to offer in the context of the ASEAN economic integration, where it seems that prices will go down, everyone will compete and therefore drive the prices down towards similar kinds of commodities, and many of these being imported across the ASEAN. But what about traditional foods? What about local foods? And what about local craft? So we wanted to provide this message that you don't have to look far. You have to look internally for your health, for your consumption, and your production. So we had a big event in 2015 in the middle of the city. This is in a big plaza and we invited more than 100 producer groups to share their story, to sing and dance, to share their culinary skills to the capital city. And we started that, and we've been having that every 2 years to promote to a larger public audience. So 2015, 2017, and 2019. So every 2 years we have this festival involving more and more different network partners, media, and other consumers. So what is our vision and what are our aims? So we're a fair trade marketing platform and movement that seeks to improve the welfare of Indonesian community producers by promoting products based on conservation, natural resource conservation, culture, and local traditions. So we're both the store that you saw, but we're also NGOs promoting capacity building and having a campaign through the festival and other events that we have. We'd like to promote fairly traded food that is of good quality. So not food that you buy because it's a charity gesture, food that is healthy and safe with reduced or eliminated chemicals and synthetics, and to promote the great diversity across these 17,000 islands. To promote food that is healthy and an alternative to imported food products. As Ibu Amanda also said, even much of our rice, we're a rice producing nation, but there's a lot of rice that's also imported, and that goes for many ASEAN countries. So this pandemic has actually made us think about the sago we produce, the sorghum that we produce, and how important it is to our own food sovereignty, food safety, and food security. And finally, we hope to address the issues of the economic gap between rural and urban areas in Indonesia by delivering products from producers in villages to consumers in cities. We hope to expand marketing efforts of our community producers who already have limited marketing exposure within their districts and within their islands, to promote the concept of fair trade across producers, consumers, and with different wholesalers and others in the supply chain, promoting sustainable consumption and production, and environment and cultural values, as well as promoting the role of women as actors and economic decision makers. So Parara, and this is our tagline, Jaga Tradisi, Rawat Bumi, which means to care for your tradition. You also, to guard your tradition, you also care for the earth. So that is, in a nutshell, what we're trying to do. And we have 4 core values: promoting what is local, meaning local products, local crops, local delicacies, but also that local people are the producers themselves and in the small, medium enterprises themselves. Products that are healthy, as Ibu Amanda said, we will be sharing about other sources of flour, sources of carbohydrates that don't spike up your blood sugar, etc. Fairly traded foods. We're also trying to document how we and our partners themselves have ethical practices with their partners in the field. And we are trying to document these through certification as well as participatory guarantee systems. And that goes as well for traceability of how these products are harvested and processed sustainably. So those are the 4 main core values for Parara. These are the logos of our 30 different organizations, from very small district level organizations to large NGOs found in multiple countries around the world who have really banded together. Now already 6 years in promoting local, healthy, fair, and sustainable food, and now have banded together to establish a business and a restaurant and a store. So that's our logo. We do have our own ambitions to open stores and restaurants in other major cities around the country to promote local delicacies and to promote the consumption of local delicacies in their own locale. we have heard the story, for example, in Papua, the most eastern part of Indonesia, which is the largest producer of sago from the palm sago, metroxylin sago, where that used to be their basic staple, and more and more people are having rice. So things that you have to import rather than something that you find naturally and that's growing naturally. So if we can have small little Parara and not so small Parara restaurants and stores around, we can promote other local food and products within the areas where they're found. So I'll be showing you some of the food that we serve in the restaurant, and then my colleague will also come on board. On the left, this is called Soto Banjar. It's a Kalimantan, a Borneo specialty. It's like a comfort food, like Borneo's chicken noodle soup. Also using local spices, local nutmeg, local cardamom, local cloves. And we have innovated by using sago noodles. So you cut your risk of having a spike with your blood sugar, because the sago is very low on the glycemic index, and this is good for those with diabetes, those with autism, having these sago noodles produced both by our partners in Riau, which is in Sumatra, and also in Sangihe, which is in Sulawesi. And we also make a carbonara. So we try to share and promote local dishes, but also say that these local foods can be part of an international cuisine, like having a carbonara that is made with Parara sago noodles. On the left, Ibu Amanda had shared about the diversity of Javanese cuisine that is part of that map. But rightly, she said that's because there's a lot documenting these dishes. There's a lot out there that has not been documented, and we hope that through our restaurant we can put more on that map. Now on the left is a Javanese delicacy, which is called sauces solo, usually made with the sausage in the center and wrapped with wheat flour, but we've innovated by using sorghum flour as well as modified cassava to make it gluten-free, and to also change the meat inside to bamboo shoots. So it's vegetarian and it's also gluten-free, and it tastes yummy. And on the right, we have our gluten-free brownies, which is made of sorghum flour from NTT, Nusa Tenggara Timur, in the eastern part of Indonesia, from an island that Semau Muda, where there's a village where one person was killed just by taking sorghum, and they decided to plant sorghum the whole village, and now they're producing for Parara and many others. I share with you the array of the products that you can find, and in this pandemic and in this digital age, these are also found and shared online, and we've also have our presence in the marketplace Shopee, and we'll be going on GoFood and GrabFood very soon. But just to share some, we have a small river delta fish, we have organic rice, nutmeg syrup used for nutmeg juice, sago chips, bamboo shoots, all different kinds of flour, from purple yam to modified cassava to banana flour, and palm sugar, as Ibu Amanda had also shared. And we're also promoting local craft and textiles. So here is what we're available in the marketplace Shopee here. We're also responding to the needs of the pandemic by coming out with frozen food delicacies using probiotic chicken and sustainably produced seafood. And we're also innovating with more sustainable seafood pastries while the pandemic continues. Just a few more slides. Parara itself, we wanted to make it an experience where you could come and learn more, not just by reading what's on the menu and hearing from what the server has, to say, but by also being a place where you can have events And before we went on to the pandemic, on the left is the ASEAN Civil Society Forum on Social Forestry that had an event on our second floor. And also on the right, we had a workshop of Dayak artisans teaching women of different nationalities how to make baskets from rattan, which is found in their gardens. And though this has diminished with the pandemic, we're hoping in the post-vaccine era that we will be a place where you can eat, shop, gather, and learn responsibly, sustainably, and learn more about Indonesia and what it has to offer. We are one of the newest slow food communities within Indonesia. So we're slow food community Parara, the harvest of the archipelago in Jakarta, and as part of Terra Madre Indonesia, promoting local food and local producers, we do have some more webinars coming up. So please follow us at parara.id to learn more about the webinars. So we did have one on palm sugar recently, and we'll be having one on sago on this Saturday, and on cereals, and on fruits, and on salts in the months to come next year. So this is how the store looks outside. We hope you can come visit us someday. Here's our information, our phone information, our Instagram, our Shopee, and our website, which is still being developed. Now I'll stop the share. And I'll also invite my colleague. I don't know, Ibu Amanda, do people have questions, or do we go on to show the food first and then maybe people have questions, or how does it go? Yeah.
Yeah, we'll show the food first and see the
All right.
relationship, the flow of the presentations.
All right. Asti, so our restaurant and store is in Kemang in South Jakarta, not so far from Ibu Amanda's house. So I heard, I've never been there. Okay, Asti. All right,
Yes,
here we are. All right.
Wow.
Okay. So we actually have 3 floors. And we actually have 4 dishes and 1 drink that we will be showing you. And Asti will be demonstrating the drink at the end. Okay, so this is our first delicacy. Of course, we start with an appetizer. This is the Javanese sausage solo wrap, or the sorghum bamboo shoots wrap, or crepe. So it's made with sorghum flour, as well as modified cassava. And Asti is now showing you, we're sorry it's not so clear, but this is what the bamboo shoots look like. The bamboo shoots are from forest gardens and from natural forests within West Kalimantan, in the districts of Sanggau and in the district of Toho. So we, through our partners, our NGO partners, our 30 NGO partners, we have close direct links with our farmer partners. So that has replaced the sausages to make it a vegetarian meal. And it's also gluten-free because we are not using any wheat flour, but we're only using modified cassava flour, which has been prepared by the women's group in Kulon Progo in Yogyakarta, as well as sorghum flour in the eastern part of Indonesia. And all of these are also found on our marketplace. So this is our first dish that we're showing you, our appetizer. We apologize, we can't send them to you in Italy and in other places, but we hope you can come visit us in the post-pandemic time.
Is that the sausage solo, Crissy?
Yes, in the front, this is the sausage solo, which is found, we've placed it on a banana leaf, which is how it is.
Can Asti cut it so we can see what's inside?
Okay. Asti, bisa dipotong. Asti, sosis solonya, mereka minta dipotong.
Yeah, I would like to see what's in there. And if she can make it closer to the camera after she cut it, that would be very much appreciated.
We are happy to oblige. So Asti, didekatin ke ke kamera.
Well, so we can just enjoy it visually since we cannot taste it.
All right. So inside you have the bamboo shoots, which you can't see so well. Right.
But how come
So
the bamboo shoot is black? Usually it's kind of yellowish, right?
it's already dried, but I
Okay.
guess it is a variety that's color is darker, a darker brown.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh,
But
that
we
looks
have
Crissy, I have
looks
a
crispy and yummy. Yeah. Yes, Gian, do you have question?
Yeah, I have one question. So with the bamboo shoot, it's very interesting that Chrissy is mentioning dry bamboo shoot. Is this a way of preserving it? Because especially when it, I mean, this is what I know as a person, where when it comes to bamboo shoot, especially in Japanese culture as well, they mention when you harvest it, you need to consume it immediately to maintain the freshness. So, do you see drying as a technique where you can preserve the product much longer than its time and it can be used later on as well? And because especially when it comes to bamboo shoot as a crop in general, there's a lot of wastage because people lose that time and they think the product is not fresh. So, do you think this dish would be a solution, or this way of cooking in terms of drying and preservation would be an interesting method to utilize the bamboo shoot than to discard it just because it's not fresh anymore?
yes, I think the bamboo shoots. Asti, you can put it down. I think you. She's like holding it in front of us, is about to like. Yes, I think this is also a way that we can help the bamboo shoot farmers to extend the life of um, the bamboo shoot, because as you know, the bamboo shoots will emerge during the rainy season, right? And so it comes at one time, and there's a lot of it. So what do you do with it? So yes, you can dry it, and if we can provide this kind of solution for other restaurants and other stores, then that will help bamboo shoot producers as well.
Thank you.
We are also actually, yeah, also preparing non-timber forest product protocols on sustainable bamboo harvesting, and bamboo shoots is one of them, working with ASEAN as well on being able to provide this information across ASEAN.
Interesting. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Gian. Do we have any other questions before we move to the next dish?
I couldn't wait for the next dish.
Okay. The next one, I think Asti might shut off her mic a bit because it might, yes, I've shut off her video, but I'll explain it. The next one is called nasi bakar beras hitam adan krayan. That's a mouthful. Yes, but it is a nasi bakar, which is actually, a rice that is steamed and grilled inside a banana leaf and grilled on open fire. And we had pictures, I think, of it in what Ibu Amanda must have shared earlier. But it is special for two reasons. One, we're using a special kind of black rice that's found only in the border in a border of the island of Borneo, in the border of 3 different countries, Brunei, Malaysia, and Indonesia, in the highlands of the Krayan, which has a special kind of ecosystem, providing a special kind of array of food. So we have the black rice, and the black rice itself has a special aromatic aroma to it, which is why many chefs buy this rice, even though it comes from very far away. And it's also very high in antioxidants and different minerals and protein as well. It's also special because within the rice that's found in the banana leaf, we have also combined it with a special river delta fish called Triduo from central Sulawesi. So, and I think Asti has also prepared it with different kinds of local chips and other vegetables.
Wow. I want that. I want that.
Yeah. This is the rice. Ibu Amanda has also had different events with one of Asia's most famous chefs, Chef Ragil, who has Nusa Gastronomy, the restaurant. So they buy and use this special kind of rice. And many chefs do blind taste and say their favorite rice is black adan rice.
That's the fish, the tiny fish, Tri.
That's the tiny triduo fish or penja. It's found in the river delta in Sulawesi, central Sulawesi.
Do you put lots of salt in it, salty or a different taste?
Well, salt is used, but it has saltiness with it already.
Okay.
But yes. So we have here the innovation using the black rice and also this fish. Having black rice is not something common for many Indonesians. So it's still something we're trying to promote with all the values that this special rice has. And trying to promote it on Indonesian plates who are mostly accustomed to using white rice. We also have black rice from the outskirts of Yogyakarta.
Amazing.
Okay, thank you. Thank you to Asti as well and the team that's been preparing the food there. Unfortunately, we're not able to bring you into our kitchen because we are preparing hampers for Christmas and the deliveries are coming up very soon. So the kitchen is quite busy preparing our hamper orders. Now we've shown you two dishes that are Indonesian delicacies, and we want to show you one that is an Italian dish.
Wow.
But we've used Indonesian ingredients, just like our carbonara. This is our sorghum lasagna, which Asti is preparing. This one, I think we use meat, but we have done focus group discussions where we've used bamboo shoots as well, and we didn't tell the people what they were eating, and they didn't know that it wasn't meat. So it tastes the texture. We've been able to make the texture so that it can taste like meat. Okay, so this is our sorghum lasagna. So the different layers are also prepared with a mix of sorghum flour and modified cassava flour. So for those of you who haven't used these kinds of flours before, modified cassava is made through a fermented process, and it removes kind of the cassava aroma, and it also makes it very close to the wheat flour that we are more accustomed to using, and it's almost 100% interchangeable with that. But we wanted to mix it with our sorghum as well. So when you eat this, you will notice that the lasagna is a bit darker because of the sorghum. But the taste and the consistency should not be that much different. We're also using palm sugar or gula merah. And the palm sugar we're using is from Kasepuhan district in Banten, just outside of Jakarta, with the Kasepuhan people, or those who have an intimate relationship with nature and their forests and their agriculture. And this palm sugar is made also cooked on open fire, so it has a very nice aroma to it. So
And
here
it's
is
still warm.
the lasagna. It's still warm. I don't know. Would you like us to open it as well, or
Yeah, we have 5 minutes left. If you can.
Oh, okay. We will be moving forward. All right. Thank you, Asti.
It makes justice to cut it through.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. So we'll have her cut it later, maybe. While okay. So the last two. One is the last dish, which is comfort food for Indonesia. Maybe you've heard of mie goreng or the stir-fried noodles that many Indonesians love. And it's made of this mie kuning, which is a wheat-based flour. But we are using sagu noodles from Sungai Tohor in Riau, in Sumatra. Instead of the regular noodles. And the story behind this is that in Riau, in this island called Meranti, much of the land has been converted to pulp and paper plantations and oil palm plantations. So if you've heard about the raging forest fires that happens in Indonesia, it's from this area. But it's this village that hasn't done any conversion that is free from fire. And so we promote this noodle because the sagu itself likes a damp peat swamp ecosystem where it grows. But if you have pulp and paper plantations and you have oil palm plantations, this will dry up your land, which is happening to the rest of the island. So we promote this community's fire-free, smoke-free, sago noodles. They are struggling now because much of their sago is actually going to Malaysia, and in the pandemic, it's harder for them to trade across the border. But we are trying to promote their sago flour as well as their noodles in the store and also to other wholesalers and even to exporters. So that is our comfort food, the sagu noodle. And last, in the last 2 minutes, Asti will show you our magic aromatic blue pea tea.
Ooh.
So with blue pea tea, blue pea, the butterfly pea, you know, the blue color, which you use to color as well rice and other foods. We know that we use it with forest honey from the island of Sumbawa. It's called the honey island itself because of how much honey is found there all across the year. They have at least 4 harvests. We have studied with the scientists of IPB, the Agricultural Institute in Bogor, the antibacterial and anti-cancer properties of this honey that are even better or at par with Manuka honey found in New Zealand. And we've combined it in this blue pea tea. We call it magic and aromatic because it turns color when you use citrus and aromatic with the faint hint of mint. Asti, are you ready to show us? Yes, blue pea is amazing. Takshama.
So where did you get the blue peas?
Well, we have quite a large number of sources from East Java, but this pea that we're using now, if I'm not mistaken, is from West Java, from Garut, I think, right? From Garut. We're working with a asrama or like an Islamic boarding school where they're also promoting ecological values. So what they eat is also what they farm, and what the students are learning is from experiential farming, what they themselves farm. So Asti, you can go ahead with your demonstration. So but we also have, go ahead.
It's not powdered, is it? Or
No,
dried?
it's the dried, right? It's the dried.
Okay, that looks more exciting.
Flour,
Yeah.
right?
So that's the dried blue peas.
Yes.
Okay. And she's going to mix it with cold water or warm water?
Whenever we're using, whenever we're making drinks that are hot, especially if we're going to mix it with honey, We try not to make it so hot, or else then we would eliminate the good vitamins and minerals that we're using that are found in our honey. So this is the Sumbawa honey. It also has geographical indications, certification, along with a lot of scientific research that I have explained. And we usually serve the honey on the side so that people can put it in while the drink is cooling, and can adjust it to their own taste. Okay.
What is she putting in the glass?
This is already, is this, you're putting the honey, right? Are you putting the honey? Yes, I think it's the honey.
Okay. So it's forest honey.
That's right. Yes, Asti, you can tell us? So you're going to wait for it to cool down, ideally.
Yes,
Okay,
you have to wait about it might a minute to make the water turn.
Yes.
Blue.
It's already into the blue color.
Right.
Okay.
And Amanda's question is, yes, all the honey we have is forest honey. So none of it is found in boxes, which means it's all organic honey, because it's found in the middle of forests, and the flight span of these Apis dorsata, or these giant bees, is about 2 kilometers. So they're just flying within the forest itself. And they are harvested in a way that only the honey is gathered and the larva is saved for new hives and new bee populations.
Oh, look at that. It's blue. What do you call that? Aromatic
Magic.
aromatic magic blue pea tea?
Blue pea tea. We have another version as well where we use soda. So that is called Magic Sparkling Blue pea
Wow.
tea.
So names are important, right?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. And then if you put citrus, it will become pink.
It changes a bit purple.
Purple.
We have some better pictures on our Instagram for those who want to see. I see a question here about the sagu noodles, and since we're running out of time, maybe we can answer. The sagu noodles, for me, the texture is a little bit more like rice noodles, but they're thicker.
All right, thank you.
Yes. Maybe we send you some someday.
Oh, yeah.
Gian, you have to come here, Gian.
Now.
Yeah, and when you cook them, when you cook the noodles, usually they cook them first, or they boil them until they're about 3/4, cooked. Then you use them in the frying process.
So Asti is putting the lemon.
Yes, that's right. Asti is putting the lemon.
Oh, wow. Can you imagine eating delicious food and then top it with this delicious drink and the sparkling? Oh, I want to try everything. Wow. Wow, 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 wow.
Yeah, so now it's changing purple, violet.
What's the best-selling drinks in your restaurant, in the ethical store before the pandemic, or even during the pandemic?
We have a nutmeg tea, and we also have a rosella tea. Since the nutmeg is usually something that people haven't tried before, many people usually order that. But for those that want more adventure or want to see something happen, they usually go for our blue pea offerings.
And you prepare the blue tea in front of the guest?
We usually separate the lemon. So the change in color happens in front of them, but the process that Asti does is usually not in front of them unless they request.
Okay, that's great. Oh, Asti, look at that. Thank you so much. Oh, the honey, my goodness. What's the size of the bottle of the honey, Crissy? Is it about 100 milliliter or?
The one that we have in the store is 350, I think, right? You can give me your thumb if you agree, Asti. Yeah, betul. 350. We used to have
Yeah.
100 and, right, 350. We used to have 500. This is 350.
Okay.
Yeah, we used to have 500,
This is
but
200.
sorry, 300. We used to have 500, but the bottle supplier in the pandemic is not supplying anymore. So we have these. Yeah. And our partner is Jaringan Maduhutan Indonesia, or the Forest Honey Network Indonesia. And they actually have 6 varieties coming from 6 different islands. And we're also documenting the floral resources behind each harvest. So actually, this one came in, and then one of the staff, sent a picture. It's a different color. Is there something wrong with it? And I said, no, it's just a different season. And I showed, yeah, and I showed her the results of the 4 different seasons. And the darker the honey we found, it has more bioactive compounds, which results in more antioxidants and antibacterial content. Though we had antioxidants in all 4 samples in all 4 seasons. But yeah, so yeah, the color isn't that it's going bad, but it's a mark of what was flowering at the time that the bees were making honey in their hive.
Amazing stories, amazing products. And Crissy is helping us organize the youth leadership camp for climate crisis here in Indonesia. We are going to have it on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And actually, the idea came from this digital bootcamp, Crissy, because of this interesting digital bootcamp. But this digital bootcamp, is taking like 1 month, while ours is only 3 days. But,
3 days, right?
Yeah, so Chris is helping us. Thank you so much. I'm glad that I could connect this digital bootcamp with Crissy, and I'm sure that this will not be, the last time you are invited to the digital bootcamp and the Future Food Institute events as well. Thank you so much, Asti, Crissy, and all who are attending. And I'm sure, Francesca, there will be a recording, right, of this, because I've already have some questions for those who would like to see, but they're currently engaged. Well,
yes, absolutely. There will be a recording, and we'll make sure to send you the link. You'll also find it in the chat where we would send to students. So we will send you the link to the recording.
Okay. Thank you again, everybody, Crissy, Asti, Francesca, Gian, and all the digital bootcamp participants. Good luck with your hackathon. The hackathon is coming on a weekend, and you're all going to work 3 times 24 hours.
Thank you also, Ibu Amanda, Francesca, Gian, Asti, and everybody else, and all those watching this after, because I guess it's all different time zones.
Right.
It is.
Okay.
Thank you very much. It's been a wonderful session. Thank you. Thank you very much, Amanda, for yet another look into the great Indonesia foodscape.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you so much. Have a good day. Stay safe. Stay healthy.